Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Today I'm going to be sharing the 5 best and 5 worst products from Natasha Denona according to me. So this is a series I started maybe a month or two ago, and I've already done the 5 best and 5 worst of Charlotte Tilbury, and today I thought we would pick it up with Natasha Denona. We know she is one of my absolute favorite makeup brands, and it was actually very, very hard to pick my bottom 5. There were some I was confident in and some that aren't bad. I just don't love them as much. And then my top 5 is really solid. So let's hop right into it. I'm going to start with the 5 worst. So the first product in the worst category is the Skincare Infused Glow Beautifier. First of all, I think the packaging is really, really beautiful. It's very chic. I just don't think I'm the target audience for this product. This is really just a highlighter. I just really don't understand the marketing around this one. This one was advertised to pair beautifully with her High-Gen Skin Serum, which I was never interested in. This could be paired all over that. This can also be used as a targeted highlight if you want. She says you can use this all over the face. I don't think I would ever do that. I do think this is beautiful as a targeted highlight, but it's also really, really expensive, especially for what it is. I just really don't get this product. So unfortunately, this one is not for me. Maybe it's a good product if you are the target audience for this. It's just not for me. Now, I should also mention, I haven't tried every single product she has ever come out with. There are definitely some products that I haven't tried that I didn't hear great things about, but I can't speak to them myself, so I'm just basing this off of my experience and what I know of these products. But the absolute worst that I have ever tried from Natasha is the Macro Blade Liquid Liner. This is a mini. I think this was maybe a gift with purchase or something like that. And I really only have this for reference at this point because I do not use this. I do not like this. So the color of this liner is very, very black, which is great. The problem with it is that it bleeds everywhere. So no matter what I did with this liner, I could never get a clean, crisp line because it just wanted to settle into lines everywhere and just kind of start traveling. So I just really did not like how this looked. I think I used this a few times when I got it just to test it out. I kept troubleshooting to see if maybe I was the problem, but I just could not make this work. So I haven't used this since. I can probably throw this out now, but I figured since I have it, I can reference it for this video. Next, I pulled out her cheek duos. Now, with her duos, I also want to say her cream blush formula in general. In the past, I have just never liked her cream blush formula. I find they dry up too quickly or they're too slippy. So these duos I've never fully understood. So the packaging is beautiful, but there's always typically a blush and a highlight, and obviously each duo is not going to work for everybody. This one I really liked at the time that it came out. I liked the color of the blush. I liked the color of the highlight. I thought they were both very, very pretty. The problem is that the blush has completely dried up, and it dried up, I would say, well within the 6 months. The Cupid Cheek Duo I also have. This is also a blush and a highlight. The highlight definitely is too deep for my skin tone. The blush is one of these very, very slippy oil-based formulas that's more like a balm, and I just don't like that either. So I really just didn't get along with this. And again, a blush and a highlight duo, it's definitely not going to work for everybody. Definitely not going to work for all skin tones, and the blush formulas in these are just not that great. We haven't seen her come out with any of these in the last couple of years, and this is probably why. I just really don't think these were her best work. Which actually brings me to the next product. I don't think these are terrible at all. The formula is definitely much improved, but I just think she has a lot better in her collection. And this is kind of also where I'm saying I had trouble picking my bottom 5. But this is her new High Blush Duos. Now, these are not bad quality. The packaging on these is beautiful. These are a formula where the colors aren't so different and special that you would need to purchase multiple. These are one that you should just pick one that works for your skin tone and go with that. This blush formula in here is so much better than any of her other cream blush formulas. They're just creamier, they're easier to blend, they're not feeling dry already. They're actually a really, really good consistency. And I really do enjoy the highlighters in here, and I think they look beautiful on the skin. And this duo is in Simply Shy, and I think that this one is the perfect one for me. I also have Fresh Mauve. This one is also beautiful, but the highlighter in here definitely serves much more as a blush topper for me. But I will say the foundation that you're wearing may affect the blendability of these. I have worn these over certain foundations where they're a little bit more difficult to blend, a little bit patchy, and I've worn them over foundations that it's no problem at all. So I do think if you're wearing a bit of a thinner, more lightweight foundation, these are going to be perfect. But if you try to go with something with more coverage that's maybe a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier, these are going to get a little bit harder to blend, and that's just been my experience. So I don't love that. Otherwise, I think the formulas in here are really nice. They're not anything groundbreaking or spectacular, but they are a nice formula. I just don't like that they are a little bit finicky with the foundation, but otherwise these are a nice formula. Again, we've got blush and highlight duos like she was doing before. However, she actually released a range so that different skin tones will actually have one that works. So I think these are perfectly fine. And then rounding out the 5 worst is a product that I also debated on putting in here, but honestly, I didn't have anything else that would fit, so I pulled out the High Glam Powder Foundation. Now, I like the packaging on this. It matches the packaging of the blushes. This also has that soft touch matte texture. I have the shade N2, and I do find it a little bit yellow, so I don't actually use this as much as I thought I might. So if you are a skin tone match to me, I would definitely go with a more rosy shade if you are looking at this one. I also have a dry skin type, so I don't necessarily gravitate toward powder foundations that much. I just find them to be too heavy and too dry on me. This one isn't overly heavy. It can be a bit dry though, so I will say that, and that is probably why I don't reach for this one that much. I also do not like that the neutral shade pulls yellow. That is one of the biggest grievances I have with makeup brands, is that when they make neutral shades yellow. Leave that for your warmer shades, okay? Give the yellow undertones to your warmer shades, but leave my neutrals alone. So I love to use this when I need a little bit more coverage. Maybe my foundation needs to be touched up. I do love to go in with something like this. It's just that because it's yellow, I don't like the shade. And I don't really wear it as an all-over powder foundation because my skin just typically doesn't like that. So I did put this in the bottom. It's not a terrible powder foundation, but I do have some from the drugstore that I like better. The Maybelline Hybrid Powder Foundation. That's the best powder foundation, and because it's a fraction of the price, I would go with that over this. Let's get into the category that was incredibly easy to pick. First up, I have her lipsticks, and I do have 4 shades. I love her lipstick formula. These are a creamy, pigmented, comfortable formula. They are hydrating on the lips. They are just so long wearing, especially for a more creamy formula. The shades she has are beautiful. They remind me quite a bit of the Charlotte Tilbury formulas or even the MAC formulas, just in how long wearing and comfortable they are. Just when I put a creamy lipstick on and it's got that more shiny cream finish, I do not expect it to wear a long time, but these actually do. And the colors I have Berry Pop, which is a more deep berry red. I have Amorosa, which is my absolute go-to when it comes to a more cool tone shade. Typically, if I'm ever wearing a purple eyeshadow, I go for Amorosa. This one is just so good. The shade Daphne is a really beautiful light pink. And another shade that I have used to death is the My Dream lipstick in the shade Natasha. This is just a really good one. This is almost a perfect dupe for MAC Modesty. It's just a really perfect My Lips But Better shade for me. I really, really love this one. So her lipsticks are a top-notch formula and very underrated in my opinion. I don't hear a lot of people talk about her lipsticks, but they're amazing. And I also have to keep it going in the lip category. Her liners, these are so good. So I have the shade Gaia, which is a pink. I have Natasha. This is my second one of this. I have already used up a Natasha lip liner, so that goes to show how much I like this one. And then I have the matching Berry Pop liner. I also love this one. These are also just a really creamy, long-wearing formula. If you're a fan of the Charlotte Tilbury lip liners, you will really, really like these. These are also just very creamy and also very long-wearing. These are very, very similar, and they're just absolutely beautiful. The next product is going to come as absolutely no surprise. This is the High Glam Concealer. I have loved this concealer since it was released. I believe it's been out for about 2 years at this point. And this is actually an empty. I do have a backup in my drawer. I haven't opened it yet because when I have this concealer open, I don't want to reach for anything else. So I have purposely not opened the other one so that I can get some use out of the other concealers in my collection that I do enjoy, just not as much as this. I have the shade N1 and it is a perfect match for me. I know she recently did expand the shade range, so I would look into that when I need to repurchase one of these, but I absolutely love this concealer. It's so thick and creamy and blendable, and it gives such a high coverage level, but it doesn't feel heavy on the under eyes. And the way it just blends out like a dream. This is a concealer that I've actually just used all over as foundation because I like how that looks too. It just melts right into the skin and it looks so flattering. It is one of the most crease resistant concealers I've ever used. It's just absolutely beautiful. It wears all day long. It holds all day. It never looks heavy or crepey. It doesn't do anything weird with any of my powders. If I want to have the absolute most perfect skin day, I go in with this concealer, my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation, and the original Givenchy loose powder, and I am guaranteed a perfect skin day. I love this concealer so much. I've already bought a backup. That tells you right there that this is a favorite. The next product in her best, and I'm actually questioning myself because I thought maybe the High Gen line is just one I don't like, but that can't be true because the concealer is part of that line, and so is this next product. This is the Hyper Natural Face Palette. Now I know this one wasn't for everybody, but you do get 2 blush shades, you get 3 bronzer contour shades, and 5 shadows. Now this palette was designed to be a very quick one and done type palette. These shades are designed to be used as quick one and done shades. They're all beautiful. Again, you can use them as one and done or you can mix and match. With the blushes, you get 2 shades, but technically it's 3 because you can mix them together. Same over here. I love this, and I absolutely love that we got powder products in one of her face palettes instead of these creams. I hate that she keeps putting creams in here. I was going to put her Glam face palette in here because I really did enjoy that one, especially the eyeshadows, but the cream blush in there, it's already dried up. And the highlight is too deep for me, whereas this really kind of does something for everybody. I don't think that this one is as deep as it could be. I do think that there could be another palette to reflect the deeper skin tones. And what I also like is even though these shades are meant to be used as one and done, if you are like me and cannot help yourself and need to do more, you can use these shades here to create your base. You can easily use these browns on the eyes. It says that they are meant for the face only, but you can absolutely use them on the eyes as well to help build your base. I just think these are all so beautiful, and this is probably the best face palette she's ever done. And of course, the absolute best of the best from Natasha Denona is easily her eyeshadow palettes. I love her eyeshadow palettes so much. This is something I know she always releases eyeshadow palettes. She releases several of them every single year, but I love them. I love her formulas. I love that she's always creating and innovating new finishes, new formulas, and making certain formulas better all the time. She's got so many different palettes. There is something for everybody in her line, and I love that. And this formula has been sitting at my #1 for a really long time now. I would say it's between Natasha Denona and YSL for my favorite formulas, but Natasha Denona is definitely going to give you a much wider range of shades if that's what you're looking for. I did pull my 3 favorite palettes from her, but any of them are not going to disappoint you. They're all amazing, but the I Need a Nude is one of my absolute tippy top favorites. This is just, if I could only have one palette for the rest of my life, it would be this. I just love this palette so, so much. All the shades in here are perfect. You're not going to get a lot of depth from this one, but if you're not looking for that, then you're going to be just fine. This is such a beautiful palette. It just makes me so, so happy. I brought this on vacation with me last year, and I got so much use out of it. I loved how easy it was to pull a look together And then my other favorites, the Mini Biba has been my favorite palette for such a long time. I still love this one so much. I'm shocked I haven't hit pan in that shimmer just yet. And then the Mini My Dream is also an absolute staple. It lives on my desk because it's the perfect cool tone brown go-to color story for every day. But no matter what color story you're looking for, she has you. So Natasha Denona's eyeshadow palettes are always going to be #1 for me, and definitely one of her very best. But that is it for me today. Let me know down below, what are some of your absolute favorites from the brand? Are there any products from Natasha Denona that you just don't like? Let me know. I love hearing from you guys so much. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.